Seeing what you're dealing with here, people, is a bubble. I got a lot of bubbles that are pressing against each other. But even with all those bubbles pressing against each other, there's always nothing. You can't have enough bubbles. Because even when bubbles are pushing against each other, there's always nothing. And that's why there is nothing. Well, there's something and nothing, but the reality and the existence we live in so it's like you blow a bunch of bubbles into a containment. You can only blow so many bubbles in that containment, and there's always nothing because the buildup of it will not allow there to be that. You understand? There has to be the existence of nothing. And if you just continue to fill it with bubbles, then there would be just something. You understand? So the understanding of reality and existence here is that there has to be nothing, but there is something. Like I said, there's both. And then there's just like life. There's life and death, and then there's death and life. It's like an alligator in water and a zebra or something coming up to drink the water. It's both in life. You got both going on. You got life and death and life. So you're living that. And like I said, reality is reality in existence, and that's the way it is. So there's always nothing, though. You're dealing with that as the existence. There's always nothing, though. There's something and nothing, but even that's the what you would call the law of existence. That's why it explodes when you're trying to put something into a containment, and it only can be so much, because then you're dealing with nothing and something. You understand? And that's a law of existence, a rule there that is existence. There's only this existence. So, like I said, it's not for you people to think that you know stuff or whatever. It's for you to just experience it and live and die. Like, if you're a simple person, you're a simple person. And that's the life until something happens, and then you're living that, whatever you're living then. This is the life we live, though. You don't have to change. That's what they want you to do, is change. But does a tree change? Is anything changing in life? No. They're trying to get you to change, but you just don't do that stuff. You know what I mean? That's it. Just don't do it. But they're trying to get you to change, but you don't have to change. There really is no changing anyways. There's just this life. All there is this life, and everyone else is just living a phony life. And that's the issue here, is that you got all these phony lives, and then you got the real life. And and when you're trying to find someone, you gotta find the right person. It's like animals mating. They go out and they try to find the right mate, but you're dealing with a man-made system and all these phony lives, and how they want you to then be living and being with someone else and all that. So these are issues. That life doesn't really exist. So the someone that would be the correct relationship for you, then you're not actually even looking for that person. You're looking for a man-made system relationship and stuff like that. You're not really looking for a real relationship. You're looking for a man-made relationship. That's why you people will never get a relationship, and them talking about everyone and this and that getting a relationship. It's an impossibility, because there's not enough guys and girls and stuff. The reality again. There's the existence and the reality of life. And it's got to be the right relationship. It's got to be the right mate and stuff. So that's just something of life. You can't just do what you want to do out here. So okay. So yeah. Till the next video. Hope y'all are having a good life though, but living it the way reality. Governments, all this just messed everyone up. Even the government, they have to survive, their job and everything and how they are. Because they don't really exist. None of this really exists. So everyone's trying to survive, but that's not the real life. So then they're getting all these people living it also. But they're messing with people and they're doing stuff that is wrong and they're spying. And I told them, you people, there's nothing to do with those people spying and stuff. There is no spying, I told you. There is no spying. Okay, goodbye.